Here we go. Forensibus haec. So these things in the forum, this is the prudentia est exhibited. So this is the wisdom exhibited. That's in military campaigns here. Papirius cursor the consul. So it's a guy, he's a consul. Looks like cum, when he's apugning, when he's besieging Aquilium, he wanted to commit to Ray, he wanted to commit to battle. And the Pullularius qui, the guy who's in charge of the chickens, pullets, I think we call them pullets in English, they're young chickens. There were non-prosperobuses avibuses. These birds were not prosperous, but he announced EI to him, to the consul, that they were optimum auspices. So he was a liar. Concerning this fallacy, facta certio, he was made certio, he was informed that this was a lie, quidem indeed and even. But he believed that he given a good omen to the army, so even though he knew it was a lie, he said it was a good omen, and he entered pognum, and he entered the battle. Ceterum, but the mendacum, the liar, this chicken keeper fellow who looked at the omens in the birds, he was anti-ipsam acem. He was before him in the front line in the battles. That's where he arranged him so he'd be. So that if the gods, the DI, would have anyone's, if they wanted to conceive of some anger, if they wanted to be angry, it would be on this guy's head, the liar's head. They could expiate their anger. Directum est, autem, so however or moreover, if it was direct and his sieve, which means or, if it was by casu, by chance, so even by the providence of the celestial numens, of the celestial gods, either this came direct from them or it was by chance, that primum, first contrary part, from the other side, the contrary side, the sides they're fighting, missum errata tellum, so it's probably a javelin or something was thrown, it was sent from the other side, and into the pectus itself, in with the accusative of the polari, of the chicken keeper, a spear landed into his chest, and he was prostrated. He was strawn down on the ground, ex animum. Sometimes it means unconscious, but this here would mean dead. Ex from his animus is gone. Id ut cognavit consul. This, as the consul cognavit, learned about it, thought about it, with a fidente anime, with a confident mind, he invaded the Aquilia and he kept it, and he took it. Then, quickly, animadvertit, he noticed, quo pacto, by what method or how, an injury, an injustice or an injury, ought to be vindicted or avenged of the emperor, quem ad modum, just as how in what way, with religion violated, it ought to be expiated. So, put the guy in front lines and let the gods take care of it. Qua ration, that's the female version of by which method or by what way, compared to quo pacto, which is the male version of by which way, victory was able to be apprehended or gained. He exited himself, conducted himself as a severum virum, a stern man, a consul who was religiosus, an imperator who was strenuum or strong or vigorous, whatever you want to call it. He also learnt the modum timora, the method of fear, the genus of punishment, the type of punishment, and a way of hope in one impetus of his mind by taking. So in one point of time he took all this unto himself. 726. Nunc, now, transgredia, I cross over, ad acta, to the acts senatus, genitive fourth declension, to the acts of the Senate. What have we got? When adverse Hannibal, Claudius Nero, and Livium the Salinator, so the Senate has sent these consuls against Hannibal, and Eos, these were par, they were the same in virtues, but, or ita, thus, the Senate could see that they were most bitter intersay between them, two of them, in dissident sort of forms. They were hostile to each other and dissident in viewpoints. So with summa studio, with the utmost enthusiasm or desires, the Senate re-led them into gratia, into some sort of favour with each other, lest, propter, on account of private dissensions or quarrels, the Republic would leastly, they would be able to leastly administrate it usefully or whatever. Because unless concordia in est is in these in the power of the consuls, major aliena opera. So in the works, one is more than the others in interpolending or interfering with the works of the other, then is born some cupid artist, some desire of edending or producing his own works. So the struggling, interfering with each other is more stronger than carrying out what they should be doing. Ubi vero. But when, post-positive, even pertinax odium, well, there's a very obdurate or hardened form of hatred intercedes, as comes in between, one to the other, then when each of them profiscator, so when each one sets out, they're more certain one against another than against the castrus of the enemies. So this hatred is going to be stronger one other than against the enemies. I'll scroll down here. Where we're going today? Down to here. Okay, so Daily Dictionary, pertinax, as you see, with neuter accusatives. It still retains that pertinax thing where the male and female go into the chem form, pertinacem, something that some of these adjectives do. Now, the eostem senatus, so the Senate with the same men, when because of their nimbus, excessive aspiratus, harshness, and acting out their censorships by this guy, tribune of the plebs, Gnaeus Babius, I'm guessing, when he's before the rostra and carrying out things, in this power, diction, for this reasoning, what have we got? By a decree by themselves of the Senate, they liberated or made free these two men from fear of all the judiciary activities. They didn't have to redendo, and so it gave them some honour where they didn't have to be pressed out to give some reasoning. What do we got? Yeah, so that their job was to exact reasoning and not to give it. So this is what's going on in the Senate. It might seem a bit strange, but so the two were carrying on too harshly, too asperously. The tribunal of the plebs wanted something done against them, but the Senate freed them from this, saying they should be the ones exacting some reasoning, and they shouldn't have to give good reasons for themselves. Illa par sapientia, so this is equal in wisdom of the Senate. Tiberius Gracchus, who was a tribune of the plebs of the PL, he had dared to promulgate an agrarian law. He's pretty famous, you might know of him. They multivited him, they punished him with morte, with death. Idem, the Senate, same Senate. Secundum law, is either a favourable law or a second law, is of his. So, fruit triumvirs, this is a panel of three men. Viratum, the adverb, means man by man, so it's divided up the aga. So, through the triumvirs, this land would be divided up to the people man by man, sense of it they decided egregiously, famously. Si quidem, could be if or seeing as. Seeing as this most gravest of sedition, at the same time, what have they done? They've taken away the author of this law, and they've still carried his cause basically, is what it's saying. So, yeah, it's a strange act, but it's wise apparently. Okay, so it's a stulid, taken away the author and the cause of this grave sedition. And how then, prudently say themselves had guessed, they carried themselves towards, in the case of King Messina. Nam, for when promptissima, very ready, ready at hand, and fidesimus, this very loyal opera of his, this very ready and loyal works of his against the Carthaginians, when they'd used it. The Senate had used it. They discernated. They could see. They discerned that he was very avid. That's a comparative in dilating his regnum. If you dilate something, it widens it. So he's trying to widen or expand his kingdom. They used a legum to be feared. They ordered a law to be passed in which to Messina, attributed to Messina, so dative, I guess, that he would be salutum, he would be free or loose from the imperium of the Roman people. So, there you go. Quo facto again, by which fact, with optimus merit, with the best type of deservedness, they retained benevolence, goodwill. Then, Mauritania and Numidia and the rest of these tracts of land, of races, Gentium, which are never feeder in parque, so they're never trustworthy in peace, and they're wild when they're at rest. They repelled from their valves, from their doors. Okay, that's it for the day.